What's going on, everybody? So today we're talking about a method to get a bunch of guaranteed legendaries within 30 minutes. This is an insane buff to the fractured plane. This is something that was in the game a long time ago, but we actually did the math and we talked about the legendary and why it was not necessarily the best to run because it didn't actually give you more rewards than just standard open world farming. But with the new legendary essence system, we're really focused on getting a ton of legendaries. And this is a method that you could get absolute buttload. We'll just count here on video so you actually could see how many we can get in this event. So entering the fractured plane, you can see here the weekly rewards are as follows. You can get these legendaries. There's a chaotic chest with mystery equipment. So they're mystery equipment. And then there's a legendary guaranteed. And then another legendary that you can actually pick 6 different options, and then it rolls through those. So if you are someone that is looking for a specific legendary item, you can actually choose one essentially, or choose 6 that you don't have. And I actually got a new one that I didn't have. This also could actually reward with the legendary equipment. I actually ended up getting 3 total from here. But then guys, if you check here into the events, and we go to the fractured plane, you'll notice that there's actually a bunch more resources that you can acquire. First off, we have the actual dust and scrap that you can acquire. This basically makes it worth it in terms of an upgrade material standpoint. You actually get enough upgrade materials as you would if you were running through and open world farming during this time. But check this out, you actually get 1, 2, 3 more legendaries and a set item. So that's in total guaranteed you minimum will get 5 legendary items minimum. If you include the set item, that's 6 essentially legendary items. And if you get lucky, you can get potentially 7 different statted items like this, which is absolutely nuts. However, if you see here, you're going to need to complete level 15 within 40 minutes, only using 1 resurrection. That's going to be my goal. Obviously, I want to get level 15 within 30 minutes and 0 resurrections, but this is actually quite difficult. Normally, around 40 minutes is much more reasonable, and 1 death gives you that little bit of leeway. This is a perfect run, literally as fast as I was able to do it, as you guys saw from the previous video, but also not dying at all, which is pretty difficult to do, especially if you are a melee class, okay? This is something that I think that the ranged classes have a significant advantage on, especially Demon Hunter and Wizard, because Demon Hunter you can move and shoot, which allows you to move around from the ranged characters, and Wizard obviously you can kind of do burst damage. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some pieces of advice and just walk through this myself so you guys can actually see the end game rewards, because I actually don't remember how much XP and dust you actually get at the end. So I want to show you all, as well as try to do it within 40 minutes without more than 1 death here. If I am able to do it 30 minutes with 0 deaths, then I'll do that as well. So first off, we have the affixes. This is going to be different for each class, and then you're going to have a set number of skills. Now, first thing before you do anything else, the first thing that I recommend, because again, I can't do this inside the fracture plane, otherwise I'll lose time. We have the damaging slots, and then we have the life slots. So the chest, pants are life slots. The helmet, shoulders, weapon, and the offhand are damage slots. In fractured plane, we get 0 gear to start off. We get the 5 basic abilities that they give us, and you have to use those abilities and your gear that you earn throughout the level to increase your overall strength. What you should prioritize is your helmet, shoulders, weapon, and offhand for damage. If you do not prioritize this, you will not beat it within time, okay? You need to prioritize this. Obviously, you're going to want pants and a chest piece because they're going to give you a different essence, right? Because you get random legendary essences inside the game based on the abilities that you have. But you won't be able to even get close to the time if you don't focus on your helmet, shoulder, weapon, and offhand. So you're going to want to pick up those pieces as soon as possible. Another thing that I'd recommend when you're going through here, note what abilities you have, right? Note what abilities you have. I know that I have Meteor. I know that I have Teleport. I'll just move myself over. I have Arcane Wind. I have Scorch, and I have Magic Missile. What legendary items am I going to want to amplify those abilities? You're going to want to do that research beforehand so you could shave off, a total of maybe 1 to 2 minutes in the battle so you don't have to continuously look at your gear. Okay, what item do I want? Is this one better? For example, Meteor has a couple of options. I don't really mind picking up one of a couple of options. There's ones that do area kind of continuous damage. Some of them, shoot ice. I don't like the ice ones because again, I have this affix that does extra damage to enemies who are on fire. So I want to keep this a fire ability, but anything that actually does, continuous fire damage is totally fine with me. Some of them could be actually detriments. You want to make sure you're not picking up a legendary essence that is necessarily worse than your build currently, because base meteor is actually pretty good. I know teleport has a damaging version. Also, it has, I'm gonna move myself over again. I don't want to move myself back. A shielding option, so you can keep yourself alive. It has, you know, a little bit of explosion damage as well as like an electric field. I want those type of legendary items. Arcane Wind, this is one particular one where I really want the tornado version on my offhand. Some classes are going to have specific items that are better than just getting straight up damage, because the star levels, as you increase your gear, are going to increase your base stats, but you're going to get whatever essence it actually has on it. You can't swap that. So this is one of those where I'd rather have the essence over the damage numbers, because this is actually a very, very important one. Scorch has a few ones that I'm interested in, and Magic Missile has a few ones that I'm interested in. But the important thing is that I know which ones I'm going for, and you're going to want to do that research for whatever class you're playing when you start the Fractured Plane, okay? You don't want to jump in and then, you know, as you're fighting, oh wait, is that a bad essence? Is that a good one? You don't want to do that. That's a lot of time wasted. So let's go ahead and enter here, and I'll just play through this. I'm going to record parts of it. I'm not going to record the full thing, because again, it's going to take me 40 minutes to beat it, but I will record the initial part, and then potentially the ending part and one of the bosses, just to give you guys just the basic strategy and to show you, because obviously I could go through the whole thing, but it'll be different for every class, right? I'm not going to have the same strategy if I'm Crusader versus if I'm a Wizard. So first thing you're going to do is start off the battle, and you're going to run through. Keep in mind that each one of these rooms has oftentimes multiple, I'm going to move my abilities around here, multiple rooms that you don't need to do. So you have to make sure that you're keeping that in mind as you're going through here, and not necessarily wasting time going to a room that you don't necessarily need to do. Also, one of the biggest things about this is dealing with these ranged characters. The ranged characters, and which is why the melee classes have such a hard time, you're going to want to absolutely make sure that you are avoiding those ranged attacks. You can see there I ended up picking up the pants, because, well, there was a pant that I actually quite like. Now, there are some situations where you will find that these guys are spawned like yellows and blues, which actually can be very tricky and absolutely extend the time that you're actually taking to beat everyone, which is very, very unfortunate. You can see here I spawned a yellow and 2 blues, and one of the blues actually locks onto me, so I can't really avoid that damage, but you're just gonna have to do your best. You can get lucky, you can get unlucky. It just depends on what ends up happening with the spawns, right? Like, this is a very, very rough thing to have a yellow spawn literally the second room that I do without any essences and without any like adjustments to my skills, right? So this one's pretty tough, but you're going to want to go through these first couple of floors, and you're going to want to pick up as many things that give you damage as possible. And then as soon as you get those, and you can see here there's a 2 room, right? So hopefully I'm going to go north, and that's going to be the right one. But you're going to pick up as many items that have damage as possible. As I mentioned, that's very, very important, very key for you to be able to go ahead and get through here faster, right? And you can see there, I actually guessed wrong. This room was not the right one. But again, I got a 1-star that ended up giving me more damage, which is going to help me. And the essence is quite nice. So once you finish the final room, it'll summon a portal, and you're going to be able to go through there. But again, you're going to want to focus on damage so that you can get through these rooms faster. And hopefully you don't spawn like a bunch of yellows or elites like I just did at the very, very beginning, because that is really rough if you are unfortunately able to do that. Once you get through the first couple of floors, maybe 1 or 2, and you've gotten a full set of gear, you're going to want to start prioritizing your upgrade towards sort of the magic find in this game. That's what it's kind of like. It's basically going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and go with the Alder Crystal, where it's basically going to go ahead and give you additional star rated items, so higher quality items as you go through. This is a very, very important mechanic, because after you get the first couple of levels done, make sure you're healing, make sure you're not dying. So I'm going to go ahead and first purchase the heal, and then I'm going to go through here and pick up this Shard of Fortune. This will allow you to get higher quality gear as you go through, and then you can just pick up gear instead of buying it from the shop as you go through. And wow, I can't believe we got another yellow on the second floor immediately. That is honestly pretty unlucky to have happen. But fortunately, we got some essences, and we're just going to go ahead and go with the coins. If I don't see an upgrade for one of the pieces, one of the damaging pieces, I'm just going to go with the coins, and that's pretty much the strategy. So I'm going to continue onwards, guys, and come back to you either maybe when I get to a later boss floor, just to give you guys an idea of what that looks like. And then I will basically show you guys what the ending rewards are and see what I ended up getting, because already I can kind of feel this one's a lot slower than my initial run the other day, just because, well, I got pretty unlucky with that initial crazy spawn of double elite. I did go with that one because that is one that I really like, Art Unrepentant Gale. But regardless, I'll be right back on a boss floor and show you guys what kind of decision making I go with that. So I figured I'd show you guys the boss fight here. It's pretty simplistic. Every 3 floors, you're going to get a boss fight, and you're just going to want to try to burn it down as quick as possible. Hopefully, you get lucky and get a decently easy boss fight. Crusader King is actually one of the tougher ones because it ends up spawning these ranged skeletons, and you have to constantly avoid their arrows. Otherwise, you just take a bunch of damage, which is a little unfortunate. So, kind of an unlucky boss fight. It's not like super difficult in terms of tankiness, but it is difficult in terms of taking extra damage. So, after you kill the boss fight, you're going to get a bunch of coins that you're going to want to pick up, and then you're going to go ahead and get to the chaotic altar. Again, this one you're going to want to go ahead and deal as much damage as possible, but unfortunately I got none of them. That one that I picked is damage decreased by 20%. I got no specific blessing that gives me extra damage potential, which is really unfortunate. That is something that I actually have never seen. I've never seen in a situation where I couldn't pick anything that gave me extra damage, and hopefully you guys don't have that. So already we're off to a really rough start, but hopefully we're going to be able to go ahead and bring it back here because, well, I don't want to redo these first couple of floors, yeah? So I'll be back once again. Crazy rooms where a bunch of treasure goblins spawn. If you get this early, this is actually a really nice bonus. If you get it later on, it actually is kind of miserable because you've already gotten your upgrades. But getting this early on is actually really helpful because you're going to get a lot of coins, which allows you to level up your magic find here. And it's basically a free room. So don't spend too much time in here, right? Going around and picking up all the coins, but at least pick up the large groups. And you can see here, I got about 300 coins from that. Hopefully you get lucky. This one's out. That was actually decently lucky on my part because obviously if you get it early, then you can affect your magic find earlier or your shard of fortune, I guess, and it's going to go ahead and affect you way longer throughout the fight because you're going to get more time with that higher amount of magic find, which is super important. So I keep saying I'm going to be back, but this time for real. I don't think there's going to be anything that's relatively new, so I will be right back when we get closer to the end here. So we're on level 15. I did die once. I had to restart actually one time because I ended up dying twice by like stage 4 or something like that. It was pretty brutal, but we should have this one on lockdown. I'm not sure the timing on this one. I believe it's under 40 minutes. I don't think it's under 30 minutes though, but that doesn't really matter because we already died once. So we're not even gonna get that reward anyways. So, you know, we'll see. But this one ended up going pretty smoothly. I ended up like messing up something with the wizard. I wanted to try out one of the newer legendary items that I hadn't tried out yet, despite my better judgment, and ended up really nerfing my progression speed. So as I mentioned, going in with the right build and making sure you have the right items to use is super important. Otherwise, you might end up shaving, you know, or extending, rather not shaving, off a ton of time, which is super unfortunate. So definitely keep that in mind if you're gonna try to do this within the time limit. You really do need to know which items you're gonna be going for. Otherwise, you know, you could absolutely hamstring yourself. But this one should be pretty much over, and we'll see what the timing on this one was, because that's going to be the end of it. And hopefully it's under 40 minutes and we get to see the reward. So 29 minutes and 26 seconds, actually pretty good. I did not think it was under 30 minutes. So if I had not died, I would have got this item as well. But as you saw there, I had that one resurrection. So we should be able to click on the fracture plane again and get our rewards, or is it all in the event tab? So it's all in the event tab. So let's go and go to the fractured plane. So we got boom. There's 2 of the, you know, dusts and everything, and then we get 1, 2, 3 legendary items. And of course, if you guys had not taken advantage of the weekly reward, you would have. And of course, if you haven't done this week, you would have gotten the weekly reward as well, which is 2 more guaranteed legendary items with the option of choosing that legendary item, as I mentioned. So that is absolutely massive. And let me just go ahead and see. So there we go. We got 3 here, 3 legendaries, which is huge. That's going to be it for the video, guys. Again, hopefully the tips help you. Hopefully you're able to go ahead and crush that level 15 with at least 1 death. Anything better, like 0 deaths would be great, but at least, you know, 1 death. That way you go ahead and get your 3 legendary items. This is actually a really amazing way to go ahead and get legendaries. As I mentioned, you really can't do better than 5 legendaries in 30 minutes. Honestly, that's one of the best ways to get it. If you compare that to open world farming, that's almost double what I would expect to get within, you know, 30 minutes, more than double sometimes what I would expect to get. So definitely take advantage of this before the event goes away on February 6th. I recommend doing this probably once a week, because even getting 2 to 3 legendaries every single 30 minutes is still really good. So yeah, go ahead and do this every single week. You do not get much experience if you're already taking advantage of the weekly rewards, but definitely at least go ahead and go through here and do your one-time completions for the events, because this is a bunch of legendaries. And although this is just probably not going to reset, this is still worth doing at least once. So hopefully that was helpful. See you tomorrow.